morning. This is Apostle John Pierce, co-founder of Manifested Grace Ministries. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Take the opportunity to thank God for all He's done and continues to do in your life yesterday. Enjoy to fellowship with your family, along with your fellowship with the Lord. On behalf of my wife, Prophet Joyce Pierce, we'd like to welcome you to the 5-Minute Daily Word for today, Friday, November 23rd. I always try to bring a word that is kind of specific to men and women of God who are operating in ministry, as well as the common lay person or saint at large. And I hope it'll be received in that vein today, where I'm going to speak from the topic of partakers of His suffering. Partakers of His sufferings. 1 Peter 4:13 says, "Rejoice inasmuch as you are partakers of Christ's sufferings." Anyone who's going to be used by God, God will take you through a multitude of experiences that are not really meant for you at all. They are really meant to make you useful in His hands and to enable you to understand what transpires or goes on in other souls, so that you'll never be surprised at what you come across. And you're able to minister and help those people. I hate to hear a man or woman of God, particularly in ministry or serving the Lord, say, "Oh, I can't deal with that person." Why not? God gave you ample opportunity to soak him up before Him. He put you through a situation where you should be able to ID with what that person is going through, or the spiritual acumen to be able to look past what you're seeing and hearing and feel Him. What did you do when you were going through that? Did you barge off because it seemed stupid to spend time in that way at that time in your life, and you missed the message? The sufferings of Christ are not those of ordinary men. He suffered according to the will of God, not from the point of view we suffer from as individuals. It's only when we are related to Jesus Christ that we can understand what God is after in His dealings with us. That I might know Him and the power of His resurrection and the fellowship of His suffering, made conformable unto death. It says in the book of Colossians. That I might know Him and the power of His resurrection and the fellowship of His suffering. It's part and parcel of the Christian culture to know what God's aim is and to know and relate to His suffering. That brings us into unity with Him. It also makes us capable and able and qualified, immensely qualified, to come to the aid of others who are suffering and in need, if you're going to be used by God. In the history of the Christian church, the tendency has been to evade being identified with the sufferings of Jesus Christ. Men have sought to obtain or procure their walking papers, carrying out of God's order by a shortcut of their own. But saints of God, God's way is always the way of suffering. It's always the way of the long, long haul. Are you a partaker of Christ's sufferings? Are you prepared for God to stamp out your personal ambitions right now? Are you prepared for God to destroy by His transfiguration all your individual determinations? It won't mean that you know exactly why God is taking you this way or that way. That would make you a spiritual icon. We never realize at the time what God is putting us through. We go through it more or less, not understanding. But then we come to a place of illumination and we get to say, "Why, God has girded me up, though I didn't even know it." You're going to be used by God. Be willing to be a partaker of His sufferings, by Him to take you through what you need to go through so you can become more and more like Him and useful to the kingdom. That will command the blessings of God as you and Him become one. Because the Word says unity commands the blessings. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Remember, the gospel of grace is the gospel of